I'm here with Mayukh and Alex. They're two staff members. I just interviewed Katie and Jessa, and so I'm just going to interview some staff folks, and then we've been doing interviews of like the students, and we're just making little shorts. So Mayukh, tell us a little bit about you, what you do at Operation Spark, and give us the rundown of your day to day here.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm the director of high school programs here at Operation Spark. I've been in that role. I was just talking to another staff member. I've been here for, as of August, 6 years. So it's been a nice run. And in the high school program, we're taking the same curriculum that's used in immersion, and we kind of break it down into semester-based courses. Those courses are actually approved by the Department of Education to be offered at high schools.
Yeah.
And over the years, we've kind of expanded the different ways that we connect with students. So we've always run classes after school and a really cool summer boot camp type program for local high school students. But we also partner with a bunch of school districts as well. I think right now we're partnering with more than 15 plus school districts. I think last year we had at least one student or more in 35 high schools take our courses. And we also train teachers. So we've been training teachers. I think this is, it's been kind of an evolving program, but we have teachers from any teaching background. We've had English teachers, social studies teachers, filmmakers. Actually, Alex was one of our teacher trainees a few years ago, and they basically come to us for 2 weeks. They can have no prior knowledge, just kind of ready to work hard and learn new things.
Yeah.
And we'll get them certified, and we'll get them ready to work with our curriculum and work with their students. So that's actually a big part of what we do now. We coach those teachers, we prepare them. We make sure that they're feeling comfortable and they're delivering the courses in the classroom. So that's kind of a synopsis of all the different things we do. We've got 4 awesome full-time instructors on our team. We've got a student success coordinator who plays a bunch of different roles, but she kind of one of the big things she does is that we've been integrating soft skills into what we teach to our students. So the idea being like, maybe you can code, maybe you've got the coding chops, but if you're going to succeed in the industry, you've got to be a great communicator. You've got to know that you show up on time. You get back to your coworkers. You work as a team, and you hold yourself accountable in a bunch of different ways as well. So past couple of years, we've been integrating that into our program as well.
They're kind of like amazing, points to practice as a young adult too. Coming out of high school, going into college, these are the kind of things that I don't think we have talked about them all too much. You learn about these things if you're on sports, a sports team, the kind of resiliency thing, or how to deal with failure fast, and all that kind of stuff. But for academics and other folks, sometimes I just don't know that they have the opportunity to kind of deal with those things or practice those things as much. So it's pretty cool that the EIR stuff that y'all are doing. I really think it's cool.
Yeah, totally agreed. I think that's something that, as the economy changes and like the types of roles that 16-year-olds now are going to be looking to get into, whether they whether they go to OpSpark and become software engineers or if they go to college, like a big part of it is going to be navigating information and just a lot of self-driven stuff, but at the same time being able to work as part of a team. I'm glad that our students are getting that opportunity now. And in some cases, they're finishing OpSpark at the age of 18. They finish high school, they jump into our adult program for a few months, and it might surprise employers, but it's a very pleasant surprise, I think, when you get one of our grads who's 18 years old and kind of has those capabilities that oftentimes like college isn't going to really get you.
Yeah, it's been an interesting. It's been interesting to see and amazing to see some of those young kids really take on that challenge and then step straight into the workforce. Man, I can think of the first cohort we graduated from the half-day program like that, and now half of them, like 4 of them or whatever, are out there doing it. So it's cool. Alex, you were a high school instructor before. You were teaching maths and science, and what else were you doing over there?
Well, But the whole high school portion of my career is pretty weird. I was a kind of like a film and digital media teacher at one point. But then the job that I got, I went to a place specifically to teach the Operation Spark curriculum.
Oh, wow.
Which, of course, I hadn't been exposed to before, so I had to go through the teacher training that Mayukh was just talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a very interesting experience because it was just not a thing I had really interacted with very intensely.
Yeah.
Really loved it. Really had a great time with it, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was just a completely different kind of track, you know?
Yeah. I remember when you were, I heard a little birdie told me like maybe you were available, but your background in teaching, and then you had gone to one of our sister schools, like up in New York, right?
Yes, 100%. I did the Flatiron program.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it was like I said, it was from the moment of being introduced to it, it was definitely a very eye-opening experience.
Yeah.
I've always, coming from a film background, I have a great appreciation for a wide degree of like technical pursuits.
Yeah.
But I'd never actually coded anything in my life per se,
Yeah.
And it was very eye-opening, and it was awesome, and I really just wanted to explore it.
Well, you've been working here how long?
It's a couple. I don't even know. I don't.
Maybe 3 years.
It feels like 3 years. Probably no. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe 3 years.
That's a lot of grads, man, that have gone through your post. And I gotta say, I hear great. There's always like grads that come up to me at these showcases and be like, "I had Alex. He was awesome," and they just love having worked with you and got a lot out of that experience of going through boot camp with you and all that kind of stuff. So you've really, I don't know how many grads have come through the door since you've been here. Somewhere well over 100. So that's a lot of people whose careers you've launched. And when you think about you think about the impact not on just on their lives, which is awesome because in a short amount of time they've gotten to the workforce as a developer and that kind of stuff, and they're making good money now. But also, if that number is 150 or 200 people, that's a lot of people that are working in tech in New Orleans that weren't in a short amount of time. So you've just like contributed to an amazing amount of like awesomeness in New Orleans. So I really congratulate you for that, man.
Oh, well, thanks, Doug. I appreciate. I mean, that's that's a piece of it that I really love. Is I really like working with the students at the stage that I work with them at.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of kind of ahas, a lot of like you kind of see people like really discovering like a really deeply felt appreciation for it.
Yep.
And that's just really fun. It's really cool, and I hope they get something out of it. I'm glad to hear that some of them have.
Yeah, and also I feel like the component that you're stewarding and have been you're teaching boot camp, which is kind of the middle phase of our it's really where the rubber meets the road for people, because they're still kind of in the early phases of learning, but we throw them into the deep end pretty quickly, and you really help them get there, like, because they're learning everything from functional programming to higher order functions to recursion under your watch, and they have to get it or they don't move forward. So there's a bit of pressure, but it's really where I feel like people are becoming developers in your shop.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I really like the stage that I'm encountering students at.
Yeah.
Because it is a very in-between stage, but that's what makes it really fun, is to, very often, hopefully frequently often, you see that transition of like, I learned some things in this initial prep stage, but like really seeing their facility very rapidly improve.
Yeah.
It's just great. It's really good. It's really good. And, that's the piece of it that I definitely enjoy the most, for sure.
I wonder if and to what degree that kind of crazy year teaching 30 high school students at a time how to code, how that impacted how it prepared you for teaching adults these past few years.
It's a great question. Mayuhk. I don't know. I mean, I think it gives me a great sense of empathy for the position that students are in when they're trying to learn something like this, even if they've had like an introductory prep course. I have a great, I try and have an enormous amount of, just compassion for how difficult it can be, but also, how rewarding it can be if they really commit themselves. So I think it's just that's kind of what I think of when I think back about that. When I think back about that, is just remembering that it's extremely difficult, and just they're the main things on my mind.
Mayuhk, you guys just finished up. You had a grad showcase yourselves for the high school program earlier this last month. I guess it was late last month, and you had a record-breaking year with enrollment and all that across the state of Louisiana. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your awesome year?
Yeah, it was a good year. It was a big year. I think we crossed a pretty big threshold of 800 students. In the past we've talked a lot about like students that we've reached in some way or another, but that 800 number was students who were actually enrolled in a course this year, and it was just really neat. And I think it was just it didn't happen overnight. It was like a slow, workup where every year we seek to improve our all of our programming, but especially our teacher training, because we're tasked with taking a English teacher, a math teacher, or a biology teacher who might have some really awesome teaching chops but has never coded before, and in a matter of 2 weeks getting them ready to start careers. Not every kid who takes our intro course is going to become a software engineer, but if 10% of them do, or even 5% of them do, we're looking at 800 kids. We're starting potentially almost 100 careers in tech. So that's been really neat. What we've, I think, really worked on is making sure that we've got the right resources, that we've got a good kind of schedule of professional development, so that the teachers we work with always feel not just that they're supported, but that they're growing as teachers. And if they do this for 2 or 3 years, which a lot of our teachers have right now, we'll train them up on new stuff. We'll teach them recursion, we'll teach them sort of that level 2 curriculum that Alex teaches, and they can then go on and feel confident teaching that to their students too. So yeah, every year, we just finished another teacher training. I think we've got another 5 or 6 teachers that are going to be starting this year at a couple of them here in New Orleans. Yeah. One of the biggest things I'm excited about is when the pandemic hit, we had been doing a lot of like pretty robust after school and summer programming, and New Orleans students can come direct. They can come here if they're able to get a ride once a week here and back. They can attend our after-school courses, but obviously the pandemic put an end to that, and access is an issue here in New Orleans, to access to tech, access to internet, access to a quiet place to work. A lot of our students, when they were taking those virtual classes at the beginning of the pandemic, they were in a kitchen with 2 or 3 other siblings running around and responsibilities at home and things like that. So it made it a bit tough for a couple of years, and we worked on it, and we continued to serve the city. But about 2 years ago, we started bringing kids back in person, and again, that was slow and gradual. But this summer, I think we had like 40 or 50 kids coming through our direct run class here at Operation Spark here on Franklin Ave, and that's just been really nice. And in addition to that, we've trained up a bunch of teachers. So we've got a teacher at your old place of work at Abramson. We taught 100 kids this year. Got kids at Cohen High School, International High School of New Orleans, and then we've got a couple of teachers training, right now for a couple of additional schools. So we're going to be available as a class in, I think, 8 different New Orleans high schools this year. So it's just like an evolving story. It's been really great to see, and there's the state itself, the State Department of Education is investing in computer science after a long time. After a long while of discussing it, they're actually putting some standards into place. So hopefully we can kind of be on the cutting edge of that.
Yeah, for sure.
The gospel.
And it was such a great end of the year. The showcase was adorable. And then Greg, too, is just finishing up the teacher training stuff this week. So it's just been a whirlwind of a year for y'all. And I think, too, the robotics thing has been a real kind of, departure into awesome as well, because you guys won some trophies there.
Yeah. Robotics has been really fun, especially for Greg. So Greg Thompson is one of our high school instructors.
Yeah.
He's great in many ways, but he I think his real passion is working with younger students. So a couple years ago, we piloted a robotics program. We applied for some funding and got it, and we put up 2 teams that year, and we went through like it's called the First Robotics League, and they have local, state, national, and international competitions. But we had 2 teams go through the Louisiana portion and make it to the state competition. And that very first year, I think one of the teams scored like in the top 3 teams in the state, and they're on the wait list to go to nationals. But it's great because those kids, by participating in this program, we're getting them not just like interested and passionate about tech, but they're learning how to code. They're starting on that path pretty early, and when they have the opportunity to take classes in high school, they're going to be prepared in a way that a lot of our students aren't. So.
Yeah. Awesome, y'all. Thank you so much for stopping by the little cozy corner here. And I'm going to hope that you enjoy the show tonight. It's great to see you both, Alex and Mayuhk. And we'll leave it there.